In the headlines, governorship and State House of Assembly election in progress in 28 states. Violent clash averted in Kano where NNPP governorship candidates voted. 3 people killed in an accident involving the convoy of Katsina State Governor Aminu Masari. And on the foreign scene, police raid Khan's house as ex-Pakistan Prime Minister heads to court. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And we begin in Adamawa State, where the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate, Senator Aisha Dahiru Binani, has voted at polling unit 006 in Bamoy Ward, Yola South local government, expressing confidence in the voting process. Answering questions from journalists, Binani commended the manner in which voters, election officials and security conducted themselves, expressing confidence of victory at the end of the exercise. She called on the electorate to conduct themselves orderly.
I'm confident in both the electorates and the officials of the INEC, because this is not the first time they are conducting election. We just concluded the presidential and national assembly election, and it was peaceful and it was a credible election. So I have confidence in that.
President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu cast his vote in the ongoing governorship and state assembly elections at his polling unit 085 Alausa Ikeja, Lagos State. Accompanied by his wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the president-elect, however, did not speak to newsmen after casting his vote. His media aide, Dele Alake, told journalists after he voted that the president-elect will not be able to grant interviews till later in the evening. Barriers were used to demarcate the unit into sections and designated areas for voters, journalists, and security operatives. NAN recalls that during the presidential and National Assembly elections on February 25th, hundreds of journalists and party supporters struggled to capture Tinubu's arrival and voting. INEC officials were early and had completely set up before 8 a.m. There is massive deployment of security operatives mounting major roads in Lagos during the Saturday governorship and State House of Assembly elections in the state. Armed security agents, mostly police officers, mounted roadblocks along Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway, Agege Motor Roads, Ikpaja Road, as well as the Oshodi-Apapa Expressway. Our correspondent observed that some commercial buses and commercial motor operators defied the no-movement order of the Inspector General of Police to do brisk business. However, policemen were seen stopping and checking vehicles without authorization tag from moving, turning them back to where they came from. Violent clash was averted at Balarebe Haladu Government Girls Secondary School, Chiranchi, in Gwale local government area of Kano State, where the new Nigeria People's Party governorship candidate Abba Kabir voted. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that some voters allege that they are being forcefully chased away by supporters of the opposition APC, a situation leading to confrontation.
Well, this is one of the voting centers across the metropolitan city of Kano, where hundreds of voters have already turned out to vote. Even though the election has not started yet, it's too early for that. But I can see behind me here are the election officials distributing both sensitive and non-sensitive materials to the electoral officers that are going to take care of all the polling units that are within this primary school in Nasarawa area of Kano metropolis. But at the moment, many people have come out, have seen so many people sitting down. They are waiting for the electoral officers to start distributing the electoral materials so that voting will commence in this place. I have also visited a number of places. It's surprising. This is one of the few places that I've seen many people that turned out. There are other places where I couldn't see anybody. People have not started coming out. Likewise on the streets are deserted, but there are also presence of security officials everywhere you go across Kano metropolis. Now, we are following the situation to see how it's going to start, but it's too early for voting to start. But at the moment, any moment from now, voting is going to start across the state, especially places where electoral materials have already arrived.
Early deployment of material and resources by the Independent National Electoral Commission was witnessed at most polling units in Kaduna State for the governorship and state assembly elections. Trust TV Shafi'u Suleiman reports that the exercise also witnessed low turnout of eligible voters.
This is polling unit number 24, popularly known as Ronka/Marnona, here in Ungwan-Sarki area, Kaduna North local government area of Kaduna State in northwest Nigeria. In this polling units, there are 949 registered voters, amongst them the incumbent governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, who is expected to cast his vote here. As you can see behind me, accreditation of eligible voters and the voting process is taking place in a seamless manner, of course, in the presence of critical stakeholders like the party agents, the INEC officials and security agencies. There is also the presence of, anti-graft agencies or officials of one of the anti-graft agencies, talking about the ICPC, who are also on ground, to monitor the exercise and perhaps detect, incidences of vote buying perhaps. Right now, as you can see, the voting is taking place in a very peaceful atmosphere. And of course, a significant number of voters have already casted their votes, while others are still coming in droves to exercise their franchise.
In Osun State, voting has commenced for the State House Assembly elections. Only the State House of Assembly election is taking place in the state, as the governorship election was held on July 16 last year. At Unit 013, Ward 04, at Tauja D, Fagbewesa Street in Oshogbo local government area, INEC officials arrived early with voting materials, and some voters were already waiting for them. The incumbent state governor, Ademola Adeleke, and the past immediate governor, Adeboyega Oyetola, are fighting to have majority at the State House of Assembly, as the fate of both of them is hanging in the ongoing litigation on the outcome of the last governorship election in the state. Meanwhile, some residents of Osun State were detained by security operatives in front of INEC office in Oshogbo, Osun State. Trust TV's Hamid Oyegbade reports that the residents claimed they were moving to their polling unit to cast their votes, but they were stopped and detained since 5 a.m. Security operatives comprising of policemen and soldiers said the restriction of movement order must be strictly adhered to prevent hoodlums from disrupting the election. The security agents say the voters should leave their vehicles and motorcycles on track to their polling centers, but the voters explained their polling centers are quite a distance and not trackable.
I'm going to Rokia Estate to vote. I just relocated to I just relocated to Owode.
Coming from my residential place at Owode, I'm going to my family house at Ibukun Road. And they stopped me, I stopped. They asked me where I'm going to. I tell them I'm going to vote at our family house. They asked me, where's my voter's card? I showed them my voter's card. So they asked me to enter House of Assembly. I said, I'm going to the town. They asked me that I want to disobey. Then I entered this is my voter's card. I entered the House of Assembly. After that, I come to meet them. They said that after election, I can leave my car and trek to where I'm going to vote. And I can't trek from here to Ibukun Road.
In this place to the other side to go and vote. But we are surprised this morning, over 3-4 hours, we have been tied down here not to cross to the other hand. That is not ideal.
The State House of Assembly election in Edo State is marred with low turnout and voter apathy. Election commenced as early as 8:30 a.m. at some polling units in the metropolis as INEC officials arrived early with election materials. A visit to some of the polling units revealed low turnout of voters who claim they have been warned if they're not voting for a particular party. At the Oredo Ward 4, polling unit 45, only one voter was seen casting his vote, while only PDP agents were seen at the polling unit. At the Oredo Ward 4, unit 19 to 28, and Mokbaye Primary School, few voters were seen casting their votes with only the PDP agents on ground. A voter who spoke to journalists in confidence said many people stayed away from voting because they have been warned not to come out if they're not voting for a particular party in the state. He said those who came out early were asked to go back, adding that most Labour Party and APC supporters stayed away from the unit. The situation of low turnout is not different at the Garrick Ward 1, Unit 18, 19, 20, 21 Oredo local government area. A voter, Helen Edukbaye, who spoke to journalists after casting her vote, attributed the low turnout to the outcome of the February 25th election. Impressive voter turnout characterized governorship and state assembly elections in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, as elections commenced in some polling units. Our correspondent who went around reports that officials, security, and election materials had arrived at the venue on time, but few people were on queue. The presiding officer of Bamus 1 polling unit said that they arrived at the polling station as early as 7:05 a.m. and began accreditation at exactly 8:30 a.m. He blamed the initial low turnout to the early start, unlike what transpired during the presidential elections. Our correspondent also noticed that Beaver's machines were working smoothly in all the polling units visited.
You know, in those days, we hired about 10 buses to transport people during the presidential election and the senators. But this time, we have to just hire about 20 vehicles in each local government, even some are 50.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Is it playtime for just youths? Stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Trust News Update. Here's a recap of our top stories. We told you that governorship and state House of Assembly elections in progress in 28 states. We also told you that violent clash averted in Kano, where NNPP governorship candidates voted. Moving to other stories, voting started late in Suleja, Niger State, where low voter turnout is recorded during governorship and state House of Assembly elections. Election officials arrived early, but only few voters were at the polling stations. A voter, Idris Muhammad, said he is optimistic that people will come out to vote. Mohammed, however, said the low turnout may be attributed to people's interest in certain political parties and the fact that some of their preferred candidates lost out in the last presidential and National Assembly elections. An INEC ad hoc official said election could not commence at polling unit 007 Baking Uku Motor Park, Tafa local government area of Niger State, because names of voters pasted on the wall were stained or removed. Later, a photocopy of the names was produced and the exercise is in progress. But despite the seeming low turnout of voters, women have maintained an impressive presence to vote in Suleja. Women have outnumbered men on the queues in some polling units visited. And with that, we move to Plateau State, where voters have commended the early commencement of voting in some polling units in the state. In Mangu, where our correspondent monitored, the exercise is progressing smoothly with voters queuing peacefully. Security personnel were on ground to ensure that there is no breach of the process.
We have already started the election. We came out early. The INEC people came out early. We started the election. The election is peaceful. We don't have any issue here for now.
Actually, in the history of elections in Nigeria, I've never seen an election that is so dear to everybody like this election. I don't know why. Actually, because of the literacy people has got themselves into. Eyes are open, and people want to know the difference between left and right. It's not unlike before again, and that is why you see the turnout is very impressive.
Still in Plateau State, some youths in Jos North local government area Saturday morning took advantage of the empty streets to play games. While some of the youths attributed their non-participation in the elections to their inability to obtain their PVCs, others say they would cast their votes after finishing the games. Ado Musa, who visited some of the areas where the youths were seen playing games, reports that while some of the youths went on playing games such as handball, others have been at the polling units to exercise their franchise.
Today is the governorship and state houses of assembly election, where many Nigerians are eager to go and exercise their franchise to ensure that they vote for a credible leader. But some people prefer to go out to play games. Let us hear why some of them prefer to go and play games rather than to go and exercise their franchise.
And definitely the reason that I say let me come to training ground is so I see right from 7:30 this morning, people are on the queue in order to exercise their franchise. So I say let me use this opportunity before the queue is reduced so that I can go there and vote my choice, inshallah.
You know that everything in Nigeria is time. So my time was never reached, because every time that we go to do it, there will be fighting, something, corruption, everything is too much. They will be saying that you doesn't have money, you must pay for that before they give you the voters card. Well, because I went here to Islamia, you know that it's there that they are using to do it. So I went there to do it, but of course they say that we must pay money before doing the voters card.
Truly, I feel so very sad and so bad, because at my age, I reached the level to vote for any candidate that is my choice, but I don't have the voters card to go and vote. And there is some people that they even have the voters card, but the reason why they see us here, that's what make them follow us here to come and play ball, and they did not vote.
Too much crowd. On a sad note, 3 people were killed late Friday in an accident involving the advanced party of Katsina State Governor Aminu Masari on the road to Jikamshi in Musawa local government area of the state. Malam Al-Amin Isa, the Director General to the Governor on New Media, who confirmed this to newsmen in Katsina, said 2 of the victims were policemen while the third was a civilian. Issa said the governor was on his way to his hometown, Masari, in Kafir local government area when the accident occurred. Governor Masari was on his way to his hometown for the governorship and House of Assembly elections when the incident occurred. ASP Gambo Issa, the police public relations officer of the state command, confirmed the incident but said he had not received details of the mishap as of the time of filing this report. Meanwhile, the latest reports reaching NAN have identified the civilian among the 3 casualties in the road accident as Amadou Ali, a nephew to Governor Masari, while the 2 deceased policemen have been identified as Noura Safianu and Kabir Ali. A media aide to the governor who gave the update explained that the accident occurred at Gadar Tsuntsaye, a village near Jikamshi. According to Issa, 3 other people who sustained varying degrees of injury in the accident are receiving treatment at the Malumfashi General Hospital. Motorists were stranded along the Abeokuta-Shagamu Expressway in Ogun State on Saturday morning as soldiers blocked the highway. Police Commissioner in the state, Frank Mba, had announced restriction of movement as part of security measures for the ongoing governorship and House of Assembly elections. As early as 6 a.m., security agents blocked major roads leading to Abeokuta to enforce the order on restriction of movement. Our correspondent observed that motorists were left stranded as gun-wielding soldiers blocked the expressway. Many of the motorists who were tank drivers have been on the spot since 6 a.m., not allowed to continue with the journey. One of the soldiers hinted that the road will remain blocked until 6 p.m. A tank driver, Moses Francis, said they have been on the road since 2 a.m. He further lamented that they may not be able to vote due to the roadblock. Away from Nigeria, Pakistan police have entered the Lahore property of former Prime Minister Imran Khan, officials from his political party said as he made his way to the capital, Islamabad, for a court appearance. The move on Saturday followed days of standoff and intense clashes between police and his supporters around the property, where police had attempted to arrest Khan on Tuesday. Khan said in a tweet that his wife was at the property and he was appearing in court after expressing fear of arrest. In Islamabad, police sealed parts of the capital and deployed thousands of police officers for the court hearing on corruption charges after he evaded arrest for a week amid violent clashes. Residents near the city's judicial complex have been asked to stay indoors. Political activities and gatherings have been banned and cars were being checked before entering the capital. Meanwhile, Khan said he has formed a committee to lead his party if he is arrested. And finally, in sports, Olympic Eagles head coach Salisu Yusuf has extended an invitation to Gent of Belgium forward Gift Orban for the team's 2023 Africa Under-23 Cup of Nations qualifying fixtures against Guinea. Orban was initially expected to be included in the Super Eagles squad for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying doubleheader against Guinea-Bissau following his impressive form for Gent. The 20-year-old, who was omitted by head coach Jose Posero, has now been called up by the Olympic Eagles. The striker is expected to arrive the country on Monday for the qualifiers. Now, Orban has netted 12 times in 9 outings since moving to Gent for Norwegian second division club Stabæk in January. Nigeria will host Guinea in the first leg of the Moshood Abiola Stadium, Abuja, on Wednesday, March 22nd, while the reverse fixture will take place in Morocco 5 days later. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.